Hello everyone, Chocolo Roberto here for possibly the 11th, I think it's the 11th, live review. So hello, how are you doing? Hope you're doing okay? Hi Andrew, hi Jack, hi Alan. Good to see you again, good to see you. Yes, yeah Andrew, you got it right. Yes, got it in one. It's Amazon's own brand chocolate. Yeah, so Happy Belly apparently. So yeah, I saw this one and I thought, well, it looks deserving of a review really. So yeah, look at 500 grams of chocolate as well. To put that in context, I think the usual ones I've been reviewing have been about 150 or something like that, I think. So I'm not sure how many chocolates are in here, but I imagine it's, quite a lot. So how's everyone doing? You doing okay today? Hope you're doing all right, and hopefully the weather's got a bit better since last week. I think we had floods, we had snowstorms, we had all sorts, probably the sun somewhere. Hopefully you're doing okay. Yeah, nearly February as well. I think I've been saying it's nearly February for about 3 weeks now. But it seems to be flying by every day, really. So it's one of those, isn't it? One of those. Yeah, and you're right, Jack. I'll have to. The problem with reviewing chocolate is, if you're not careful, you end up eating so much of it, and it can be difficult. So at one point, I was being quite good with myself, and basically, I was essentially only eating what I reviewed, really. So if I had like a few chunks, I would sort of save it and then not really eat it. But recently I've kind of gone back and I've lapsed and now just polishing off all the chocolate, and it's you shouldn't be doing that really. So I'll have to. I don't think I'll be able to do that with this if I've got to do my other reviews as well. I just won't have I just won't have the capability to review any more chocolate after eating all this, I don't think. But yeah, so as Andrew said, yes, well spotted Andrew, by the way. Yes, it is. Now you wouldn't guess it, but it is Amazon's own brand chocolate base. So Happy Belly is their, I guess, their brand, I guess. I don't know what you'd say, what you'd call it really. So rather than saying Amazon chocolate, it says Happy Belly. It's not the best name in the world, I guess, but it's something a bit jolly. Looks quite interesting, doesn't it, I guess, But yeah, not too bad. And obviously it's got 10 different types of chocolates in, so quite a varied range there, you'd say, as well, for sure. Which is good, because some of them, as I say, quite sort of small and don't have many ranges. So if it had loads of chocolates in it, and had 5 different types of chocolate, I think we'd be a bit bored of it by not too long. So yeah, but you can see. So what does it say there? Yeah, just milk, dark and white chocolates with assorted centres. So there we go. Yeah. Well, yeah, you could be right there, Andrew. You could be right. I mean, I've got obviously, as you can see in the top right, we've got the different chocolates that are in there. So they've all got non. I mean, well, they don't really stand out to me as actually telling me what are in there. So we probably will have a menu in the box, I'm assuming. And there is some descriptions on the side as well, so I'll perhaps come to those in a minute. But they are kind of, sort of spaced out around the side as well, so not too bad really. But you can see there's you see the description there? Unfortunately, I don't think I might be able to read it. I'll probably over to the left-hand side a bit. It's in German first, then at least you can see there. So let this selection of delicious Belgian chocolates with various fillings make you enjoy the rich flavour of our chocolate collections. The perfect gift for each occasion. It says each occasion rather than any occasion, which is a bit odd. Yeah, normally it says any occasion, which is each occasion this time. I'm just seeing if there's any palm oil. I'm on the sort of left of the screen here because I can't see the centre because obviously the box is in the way. So I can't see any palm oil jumping out at me, so obviously it's something that's a bit, I don't know, I can't see it, so maybe it doesn't have any. It's got butter, oil, milk, I think it says, yeah. I don't know, so let me know if you can spot it there, but I can't see any. No worries, Scotty, good to see you, by the way, good to see you. Yeah, hope you're doing all right. Yeah, you should just pop in when you can, I guess. Yeah, is that what you're thinking, Andrew? Is that what you've got? Is that from the Amazon's webpage? I mean, one of those, isn't it? But obviously there are, I think someone said there was 2 coffees in there or something like that. But yeah, that does seem to be the tick list, doesn't it, really? You made them up, okay. Okay, yeah, I just was reading through it now and I did see they're all sort of like variants of the same thing. But it's a good enough guess. You're probably right, and the fact is, you could fill out that many spaces with the same sort of descriptions. I think goes to show just exactly what you get in these typical selections sometimes. And I must say, as we've seen over the past few weeks, a couple of them have just been filled with that kind of chocolate, and it has been a bit like that really, and it has been a bit of a shame. And they all do seem to be interchangeable. As you've said, you've got the truffles, the pralines, white truffle, dark chocolate praline, dark chocolate ganache. And they are slightly different, I guess. And obviously, if you're a chocolate connoisseur, a praline and a truffle, it's going to be sort of like, quite interchangeable. But I think, quite different if you're a connoisseur. But if you're someone like myself or whatever, just likes the taste, they tend to be quite similar, really. So, yeah, I think that's the problem with it, But yeah, so yeah, but you're right. They weren't too cheap. They were about 10, 11, I think about £11. I think. You know, but obviously for what you get, it is quite a lot, really. So there we go. Is that the one you recommended in the Discord chat, Andrew? That chocolate Turkish delight. Trying to see if it'll focus in on the nutritional information. I can't get it to do. Okay, there it is. It's focusing there, but unfortunately, I can't read it when it's in when it's like that because it's covering my face. Yeah, so there we go. So there's the nutritional information, just so you see there. And I'll try moving it slightly to the left so you can see. Yeah, it blurs out when it sees my face. So I'll just read it down here. So yeah, so got per 100 grams, it's 525 calories. So on the lower end of the 500 to 600 scale. 30 grams of fat, 16.6 of which are saturates, and per 25 grams. It says what 25 grams equates to. It probably does somewhere, but I can't easily see it. 131 calories, 7.5 grams of fat, 4.2 of which are saturates. So it's not too bad. So actually, the calories in this for the weight isn't too different and isn't too bad actually. If you compare it to a chocolate bar, which is about 30 to 40 grams, you know, which would be about 200 calories or so, it probably does equate to about the same. Being 25 grams is 131. So it's not too bad actually calorie-wise for a chocolate, you know, for a set of chocolates really. There you go, I can sort of read it. Yeah. Yeah, cherry filling. Yeah, so a couple of people have been saying about cherry filling. Yeah, you're right. Cherry and dark chocolate. Well, actually, it's funny you should say that. I'm doing my top 20 chocolates of 2020 coming out soon, and yeah, there is in the mix a dark chocolate with a cherry filling in there. So I think it might be raspberry actually. I have a raspberry or cherry, but keep an eye out for that one anyway. Yeah. Right. Okay. Yes. So I guess we best perhaps give it an open. Really, I'm just trying to see if it can tell you how much 25 grams is, if it's how many chocolates, but I don't think it easily says. Yeah, I can't see it. Yeah. So okay, let's say give it an open. Yeah, exactly, Andrew. You're right. Yeah, you're right. That's it, really. Okay, so let's. Yeah, basically, there's just some typical things you get in these selections, which is, you know, Ganache's truffles and pralines or pralines, and they kind of tend to be very similar, basically. And you could just label it on anything, you know. Now, I can't find an easy way to open this. I might just there might be a drawstring, but I don't think there is. A pull tab or whatever, but I can't see it, so I might just have to make a bit of a noise when trying to open it. I'll just give it a cut with my trusty knife. Hopefully not cut myself. It's not cutting easily. Goodness me. Okay, so we're having the first problem, we can't get into it, so okay. Oh, there we go. There we are. So just basically taking the cellophane off, if I can speak. I don't do this beforehand, by the way, because I just want to get the whole experience in, and if there's anything that comes to pass or is noticeable during this time, then I like to just be able to emphasise it as I discover it rather than later on. It's very hard to get out, actually. I could obviously just yank it really hard and pull it out, but I don't want the chocolates to go everywhere while I'm recording it live. There we go, okay. There we are, so... Yeah, minted chocolate's hit and miss for me as well, Jack. Yeah, to be honest with you. I don't mind it sometimes, but it's not something that's top of my list, really. It's something a bit different. And you don't get it in many chocolate selections. And I'm assuming because it will affect the taste of all the others. If you've got mint flavouring in your mouth, it makes it difficult to eat the other ones then, because you've just sort of corrupted your taste buds, I guess, until it wears off. Yeah, so... Okay, so we have got a description around the sides here. But I'll see if we've got a menu on the inside first before I do the outside ones. So we go, got a little sort of effect here to open it up. So let's see if I can do that. White on the top. Okay. It's not easy to open this, I have to say. I can't quite. I mean, I'm trying to be delicate with it, you know. So, but it's looking like it's making me rip it apart almost. You know, I'm trying to get my thumb underneath it, and I can't. You know, yeah. I don't know if these are security measures, you know, but it's not been easiest to get into yet, and this is the only one so far that's made it relatively difficult to get into. I've had to kind of really make an effort, but there you go, I've got into it in the end. There we are. So we can see there, got a little bit of one of these cushiony things. Yeah, I don't think there's any mint in this one. Yeah, and well, to be honest with you, as I say, I just don't think you get them unless it's a mint selection. You're not really likely to get it, to be honest with you. And how can I resist so long? Sweet? Well, I know this is it. Well, in order to ensure that I don't eat too much, I only review and eat chocolate really at the weekends now. I've got to do that, otherwise I'll just be putting on so much weight. So basically, I've just got a pile of chocolate, so you just get used to it really. But it is very difficult. Yeah, it can be very hard, and sometimes I've had to sort of just buy buy something again because I've eaten one of the things I was going to review. So here we go. You can see there's one. It looks like there's multiple layers, maybe even 3 layers, I think. But you can see they're all upside down, which is a shame. So I'll see if I can rearrange them a bit. I don't know how they've all gone in upside down, but that's what seems to have happened. It might have, obviously they've been posted to me from Amazon, because of course that's where they've come from. Let's just flip them all the way around. So they could have just rotated somewhere in the post, but I wouldn't have thought they'd be able to do a full rotation in the post, especially when they're tightly packed. But yeah, you're right, Andrew. Yeah, being able to resist is very difficult when you've got all this chocolate, and I have got a massive amount of chocolate around to review. It's not easy at all. It really isn't easy, but I'd say I've just got to be very, what's the word? I've just got to have lots of self-control, really, is the gist of it. So there we go. So I've put them all around. So obviously I can't lift them vertically because they'll possibly fall out. But you can see there, not too bad. The order to them seems a bit odd. You've got like 2 next to each other, then 2 that aren't. In the centre, it seems to have 2 next to each other. It seems to have spaced them out a bit. They're on opposite ends on the other side. So yeah. They look quite nice, actually, don't they? I think you'd say they look pretty nice. I don't think they look quite as good as the lint selection we had last week, but they don't look too bad. Let's just see. I think there's only 2. Yeah, there's 2 trays actually. I thought there might be 3, but there's only 2. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So we get 40 chocolates in here. But when you compare, milk tray got 30 chocolates in, from what I remember, if that's correct. So you're not getting loads more in here than the milk tray, and I'm sure milk tray was under £5. I'm sure it's about £3 or something for that selection. I think I could be wrong there, but might be wrong with that one. But either way, it definitely wasn't much over £5. If it was, maybe 5 to 6. So obviously this one's about £11, maybe 12, £11.50 or something like that. So it's probably not. I don't know. You could buy a couple of milk trays, I think, is what I'm getting at. Yeah. Yeah, I know, exactly. I know they're not very imaginative with the flavours. Now, I have to say, there isn't a card in here that I can see, so you are going to have to look at the sides to do it, which is okay. But obviously, in my case, it's a bit difficult because we're trying to try not to spill them all over the place. I'm trying to show you what they are, and read them at the same time. So, what do we think? Do you want to read the descriptions, or do you want to just do potluck and go through the ones on the in the corner? Got any preferences on the ones to go first? Yeah, it is a bit. It's not. It doesn't have an air of quality to it, does it? Really, it doesn't feel. You could have had the menu on here printed. You could have had a little sort of, as I say, like a card or something like that. And I don't think it would have been that much hassle for them to do that. And for the money you pay, it's not a cheap selection actually. This, even though it comes across as being a sort of value selection. I guess it is to an extent. But you still would expect the minimum, I think, and you would still would have expected a card or a printing on here of what they are. Yeah, the palette one first. Yeah, well, it looks... Well, hopefully it's white chocolate. Yeah, so we've got the palette one. So I'll just read the description on that one, so find it somewhere. So there they are. There's the palette one. So I might not be able to read this at the same time as you. I'll see if I can. There you go. White chocolate with a fondant cream coffee filling. Well, it's coffee one. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, well, truffle, not too... What does it say? What's the fondant? Well, fondant, actually. Well, it's not too different, is it? Yeah. Okay, well, let's... Right, I'll just move these to the side somewhere so I don't knock them over. Okay. Yeah, so it looks like we get 2 of each one in each one as well. So we get basically getting the same of each one, really. I will double check later on the next pile. But here we go, this is the one. So it actually looks like it's called a palette. Or palette, if it's, I don't know. So it looks clear like it's got a little design to it. So an artist's... yeah, palette, I guess. I'm sure they're called something else, aren't they? But I can't think what it is. But yeah, so there we go. So it looks quite... it's not too bad. Something a bit different, isn't it? Yeah, it's a bit different. Obviously white chocolate though, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it does... well, I do imagine that these are not going to be anything too groundbreaking, I must say. But they do look to, I don't know. Let's see. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just put the other... camera. But yeah, we're not going to find... I'll be surprised if we find anything too groundbreaking here, but you never know. This is a bit of a surprise with it as well, I guess. So here we go. So I'll do the old measurements with the... Yes, there we go. So measure the height there, if you can see. So that is about 1.7 centimetres. That's the height. And obviously it's not the same all the way around, so this is not going to be too accurate, but I'll just do it from sort of one end to the other for the other weight on the actual side of it. That's sort of that measurement there. It's about 2.8 centimetres there. There we go. Right, so let's give it a bit of a chop. So I'd say it's got a bit of a nice design. Yeah, I keep thinking easel, but easel's the thing that the painting goes on, isn't it? Yeah, so maybe it's just a palette. Okay, I don't think this is going to survive a cut. Let's have a look. I don't think it's going to crush, but I don't know. It's very solid, that's for sure. I don't know if you saw that. But sort of chops didn't crush or anything. So that's perhaps a good sign of being quite a solid. Not too being a bit different really, rather than one of these sort of very soft centres that we've had, like as I say we were talking before, the ganaches and things. Looks like it could be a bit interesting. Interesting, it's coffee as well, as I say. It's not unusual, but it's not a typical flavour coffee these days, is it? So it's quite a thick white chocolate. So you're definitely going to taste the white chocolate. Assume So let's hope it's nice. Okay. Yeah, probably right there. Yes. Yeah, it does look truffly, doesn't it? Really. I mean, I think we have to say it is one of the. It doesn't look untypical there. I think it is one of those ones. Not focusing in there very well, but there we go. Yeah. Okay, so let's give it a taste. And definitely thick white chocolate. So I must say that's a good sign. The white chocolate, as we've seen in the previous reviews, has always been very much put to one side. If it has been in one of the chocolates, it's kind of basically been. It would have been like a little couple of stripes on the top or something, or basically somewhere you can't really taste the white chocolate very well. There's a couple of exceptions, but generally that's been the case. Okay, let's give it a taste, see what it's like. Let's do it. Not bad, It definitely is one of those sort of truffly centres, basically. That's what it is, really. We've called it a fondant. But yeah, I would say it's like a truffly cream, that kind of centre. Yeah, so it's that sort of thing. Melts in the mouth quite well. It's quite nice actually. Very coffee-like. It's got it does taste yeah, I think there was a chocolate bar that you could get where it was like a sort of coffee truffle, and I can't quite remember which one it was now, but it does taste a bit like that. It's not but yeah, it's basically like a sort of soft, creamy chocolate centre of it that melts in the mouth. So it's quite solid to look at here. But when you have it, it's not too. It sort of melts in the mouth quite well, really. And the white chocolate's pretty good, actually, quite thick, as you can see. Yeah. It's actually not bad at all. There's nothing too exciting about it. It's kind of relatively standard. But the white chocolate obviously accompanies it in this case. The coffee's the main flavour here, so it does. You don't really get much of the white chocolate taste as such, but it does blend quite well with it. It's quite nice actually. It does, yeah, it does. It's yeah, Alan's asking if it pairs well with the white chocolate, and it does. It's yeah, it's actually works pretty well. I think they actually accompany each other pretty good actually. You can't specifically taste the white chocolate, but it's white chocolate, if that makes sense, and it works quite well with the coffee flavour. Obviously gives a bit of a semblance of sort of a sort of coffee and cream, I guess you'd say, that kind of flavour. That wasn't actually too bad, that, and I think the presentation was reasonable. It didn't look too artistic, ironically enough, but it had a bit of effort to it, something a bit different. Yeah, that wasn't too bad, that. I think that's a good 4 out of 5, that one. Yeah, and it didn't taste too typical either. It didn't taste too typical. It was, at the end of the day, like one of those typical praline, soft centre type things, but it was a bit more solid than normal. It just stood out a bit better than usual. It wasn't too bad. Yeah. Well, the Tresor, good. Yeah, we may as well. Well, it looks to be dark chocolate, this one, I think. But we'll. Well, yeah, I think you probably can tell that much. But here we go. We'll try that one next, then, shall we? I'll say, just let me know if you fancy anyone in particular. But otherwise, I'll probably just go round in a clockwise fashion, start with the palette. But there we go. Yeah. So this one looks. They have a solid feel to them as well, I must say, these chocolates. So we'll have a look what the Tresor is and find. There we go, there it is. So I'll just move it off slightly to one side so I can read it myself. Yeah, the Tresor, dark chocolate with a Ganache caramel flavoured filling. Okay. Alright, so it's got a Ganache, this one, so yeah. So we are going through the typicals here, but it says it's a Ganache caramel flavoured, so So it doesn't sound like it is actually caramel. Okay, well let's give this one a once over then. Yeah, let's have a see. Yeah, Ganache, yeah. I think we'll have to play the the typical chocolate bingo, I think, where you got to you tick off Ganache, you tick off the praline and truffle and all sorts. Yeah, so maybe I'll have to do that at some point. I'll have to Okay, yeah, so let's give it a measure then. So okay. Yeah, so it's about height-wise, it's about 1.9 centimeters. Now it's a square at the bottom, pretty much. So we'll measure it at the bottom there, as we can. Yeah, so it's about, can't really see that, can you? But yeah, oop. Yeah, there we go. So it's about. Good thing about these, they do stay in place, which is quite good. About 2. Well, not about, it is 2.6 centimeters there. But obviously at the top you can see it's not as wide as it is at the bottom, but I think it's probably, yeah, it does slightly cave in a bit, so if that's the word. Just give it a rough one there. So it's gone to 2.28 centimeters there. Yeah, okay. Not too bad then, not too bad. So yes, let's give it a cut then. But just before I do that, it's got a relatively nice sort of. It's got one of these more sophisticated looking patterns, doesn't it? To say this one's a bit more of a sophisticated one, slightly 80s dashboard style to it. Yeah. Okay. And caramel flavoured truffle, so not too bad. So at least it's got a flavouring to it. It's not just sort of like just a truffle or whatever, or truffle with caramel on top or something. So we'll see if it's nice. They are all quite solid, these truffles. Once I cut them, they don't cut very easily. But I think that might actually be because the chocolate's so thick on them, which I think is probably a good thing, really. Because unfortunately at the top there, possibly a bit of the coffee one from the last one. There you go, got rid of that. Yeah, so it looks. Again, they're all quite, so far, well, they've only done 2, but they've been quite similar, haven't they? Just quite a thick layer of chocolate. Yeah. Okay, let's give it a taste. I think that's quite good though. They say the chocolate has been quite thick around the edge, so gives a bit of a nice crunch. Okay, right, let's give it a go. An odd one, this one actually. It kind of changes flavour as you're eating it. Yeah, it's very strange. I'll just eat the other half. A bit different, this one. It's not bad actually. It's not bad actually. It's not that sort of. Obviously, it's not caramel. It's caramel flavoured here, but it doesn't taste of the sort of butterscotchy sweet caramel that we've had in all the other selections. Although they have been actual runny caramels. Yeah, it's quite nice actually. The dark chocolate really sort of, again, works with the caramel flavour really, and sort of makes it. I don't know, have a few facets to its flavour. When I first bit it and first was eating it, it seemed to change flavour really. It was like a sort of I don't know, I can't really explain it. It just changed flavour. It seemed to just go from one taste to another, different variants of caramel, not specifically a type of caramel. I wouldn't say. It could have been because the dark chocolate was mixing with it. I'm not sure, but actually, it was quite nice. Yeah. It was quite nice. I mean, the dark chocolate was a nice, rich dark chocolate, not too rich. And the caramel centre wasn't bad either. Yeah, I quite enjoyed that actually. And I think it kind of, the caramel sort of flavoured centre, although again it was just a ganache and things, but I think they are working quite well with the chocolate. I think in this case, the past 2 at least, the chocolate's been quite thick and has a noticeable effect on the actual filling itself, rather than it just being about one or the other, or them. I don't know. They've just worked really. I wouldn't say there's not loads of things going on here. You've just got 2 things generally, or 3 things if you count the flavouring as well. But they're not bad. I'm tempted to go for a 4.5 out of 5 for that one, because I think it really stood out as being quite different actually, a different taste than you normally get. You don't normally get dark chocolate with caramel typically in these ones. Not that I remember anyway, and nothing that stood out at least. Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one to say really. 4.5, I mean, nearly a 5, isn't it? Is it really that good? But I don't know. It was a nice chocolate, I think. So it's probably a low 4.5, but I'll give it the benefit of the doubt and go for a 4.5 with that one. I actually quite enjoyed that. That was very nice, a bit distinct as well. It tastes it, Alan. It tastes it. Alan's asking, is the chocolate decent quality? It tastes decent. I mean, whether it is. I mean, let's have a. The problem is, does it say? That's a good question. That. I mean, just have a quick look to see if it says what the dark chocolate is. It doesn't seem to say specifically that it's such a percent of chocolate. It probably does on the back, but typically now we're. Let's see. Yeah, it says milk chocolate contains cocoa solids 29% minimum, milk solids 24% minimum, dark chocolate contains cocoa solids 50% minimum, white chocolate contains milk solids 27% minimum. So 50% minimum it says for the dark chocolate. So, which is actually for me is not too bad. If it starts to enter the 60s, 70s range, it can start to taste too dry really. So I think yeah, seems okay. Yes. Yeah, I can't see them. Yeah, you know, pretty average chocolate. Yeah. But it does yeah, it does look to be not too bad. 50%. So I'd say that's not bad actually. And I think any higher than that, it does start to get a bit too specialist for me. And I think it might be too dry. I think it works quite well. Yeah. It seems, you know, it looks to be okay, and it tastes nice. The white chocolate has tasted pretty good, although obviously it was a bit affected by the filling. I couldn't taste it specifically, but it worked quite well. And this dark chocolate was nice. Yeah, it's not tasted. I think the presentation perhaps is in the box. Well, the box isn't too bad, but the fact there's no inlay in here and stuff like this, you know, and maybe the sort of like the name of the selection and things, and the branding of the logo. It all looks a bit sort of nothing too special really, but as a, you know, but they actually are quite nice, you know. But you probably wouldn't give it as a gift for an anniversary or something like that. Is the gist of it. Yeah. Okay, so what's the next one? Is it Exquise? Is it Exquise? I'm not sure how you pronounce that. I don't know. Is that the one we'll do next? Yeah. So it looks again, it's got the typical one where it's got a sort of. We always seem to get one like this in these selections, don't we, where it's like a sort of oval shaped and it has a different sort of colour design on top, whether it's a coffee bean looking thing or whatever. In this case, it's obviously a bit of white chocolate. Now, normally, this is what I was saying before about the white chocolate in some of these selections. This will now sort of pertain to be a white chocolate chocolate. You know, whereas clearly it's playing second fiddle here to the milk chocolate, you know. Yeah. So, okay, we'll give this one a bit of a measure. Let's get the old other camera on so you can see. But what's the description of it? So what's Squeeze A, did it say? Should be quite easy to see this one. Yeah, there we go. There we are. Milk and white chocolate with a hazelnut filling. Okay, so I'm assuming it's going to be another truffly one. Yeah. You know, this is it. So we'll see. Because hazelnut generally is a truffle, isn't it? I don't think when it says hazelnut filling, I don't think it's going to be just lots of hazelnuts. But you never know. Okay, let's get the old measure-rooney. I should probably do it just on the top one here, really. Okay, so there we go. So we've got that there. So what it says. Right, 3.8 centimetres, I think you'd pretty much say that is. Then the width. It's hard for me to. There we go. Okay. There we are. Stays in place pretty good, as I say, so that's not bad. So 2.5 centimetres there. So obviously it does get thinner at the top. You know, it's not. You know, it's one of those. But there we go. Okay, let's give it a cut. See, so as I say, it doesn't at least describe itself as having white chocolate on the actual description. So that's not too bad at least. They are very thick, this chocolate. You can see how. There we go. The chocolate is very thick, and especially so in this one because of that white chocolate top. Let's just say it didn't say it was white chocolate, did it? Oh, it did say milk and white chocolate. Okay, well there is a bit of white chocolate. I think we can, you know, but yeah, it's not much of it. You can see that. You can see the white chocolate on this one has come off on the bottom one. You can see it's not that thick, but it did make my knife have to work to get through it. So yeah, it's very. I think that's the other thing. The chocolate is thick in this. You know, it's you can see that it's come off a bit at the top. It's on my plate somewhere. So you know, I wouldn't describe this particularly as well. I'd be surprised if you could specifically taste the white chocolate in this one. You know, but it's there as a design. I think it's just one of those where they feel compelled to have a design in one of them. It has a sort of multicoloured chocolate affair going on. So we never know. Okay, and here's the yeah, there's a bit of white chocolate that fell off the top of the other one. I'll put it back on in a minute. Okay, let's give it a taste. Yeah, I'm assuming this one's just going to be a bit of a, yeah, what's it called? What's the what's that word? You know, what's the, well, hazelnut praline or the other one, noisette or whatever. Yeah, so, and that's another term, isn't it, for the same kind of thing, really? So we've got 4 different terms, I think. Okay, let's give it a taste. it's very quite creamy, this one. I don't know if that was down to the white chocolate. And a bit of an effect. And just the milk chocolate. It's a typical affair, this one. It's your typical hazelnut praline taste, basically. That's what it is. Then you've got the quite thick milk chocolate, and you can taste that, really. It's not just about hazelnut. You do get a lot of a crunch going through that chocolate to get to the centre, and you can see there is quite a thick layer of chocolate around the edge, you know. Especially if you consider the white chocolate layer you've typically got to get through as well. It's not bad, this one. But very sort of more mundane, this one, I think you'd definitely say. It's kind of it's very typical, this one, really. I think this is your, yes, it's hazelnut praline. We've all had that one before, and it tastes just like you'd expect. I think the chocolate's quite thick, which adds a bit to it. I think it seemed quite creamy when I had the first half of it. I don't know if that was down to the white chocolate, but I don't think so. I think it's more the milk chocolate, really. So, you know, I think with these chocolates so far is the chocolates are so thick that you can taste the outside, and it gives a nice crunch to all of them. And I think it does stand out a bit, that. But this one, again, typical affair. If you love hazelnut pralines, you know, that kind of thing. There's no hazelnut chunks in it. There's no pieces of hazelnut. It was just a smooth filling. It wasn't too bad though. I think it was very typical. I think I'd probably say a 3 out of 5 for that one. It was just very typical, really. But I'd say if you love hazelnut pralines, I think it's probably one of those that you'll rate higher than that, just by default. But for me, I think they're kind of a so-so chocolate, those ones for me. So that's why it's a 3 out of 5. But it's quite a typical one as well. So again, if that's your favourite chocolate, then I think you'd be happy with that one. But yeah, yeah. Let's hope there is. Yeah, we'll see. Because I've not got the impression there's going to be any strawberries or orange creams, but you'd think there would be, wouldn't you? There's enough different flavours, so they can't all be. You know, we've seen the typical ones now, surely. So yeah, there must be something a bit more, you know, yeah, different. Yeah, we'll see. We'll have a see. Hopefully there'll be something a bit more, you know. Yeah. Well, what have we got now? Is it the coquille, is it called, or something like that, I think? One looks like a shell. Here we go, seal. There it is. Or the coquille, is it? Yeah, white chocolate with a cappuccino and hazelnut filling. This is cappuccino this time, so we've got another coffee one. Okay. Interesting. Here we go, so let's have a look. Right, so the one I picked the other one doesn't have this, but has a line of milk chocolate on the bottom, I think. But there we go. Looks like a nice shell. I guess that might be what coquille says. It translates as. I'm sure it's a different name on the side there. Oh no, it isn't. Yeah, I thought it was spelled differently. It's not. Okay. It looks quite nice again. Quite a sort of, I don't know. It looks nice, but it does look a bit mundane, doesn't it? It doesn't look that special a design. Looks a bit like the Shell petrol logo, but anyway, yes. Okay, right, so that's a good bit of a measure. I'll do it up here, so. Okay, so we'll just measure the height there. Difficult to be too accurate, but it's about 1.4 centimetres. We'll measure it from top to bottom, I think we'll do. If you ever change the size of these, we'll know, roughly. Yeah, about 3.7 centimetres there. Okay, I'll just do the width as well, why not? From each side. While we're here, we may as well. It's not quite accurate because it's got different bumps and, you know, things like this. It's about 3 centimetres. There we are. Rum chocolates. I'm not a big alcohol person, basically. I've just never really got the taste for alcohol. I don't drink much alcohol at all, really. So they don't really stand out to me. Yeah, they're not really something that alcohol chocolates are not something that I'm particularly bothered about, you know. That's not to say I don't dislike them automatically, but I just don't, that taste is just never, I don't know, it's an acquired taste I've never acquired, basically, despite my best efforts. So I don't I don't tend to like alcoholic chocolates and things. Yeah, so it's one of those. Yeah, we'll see. So hopefully, you know, if it is a nice one, and I'm not a particular rum fan, then we'll see. But yeah, he does. You'd think so, wouldn't you? You'd think so. Okay, let's give this one a chop. So this is another it's a cappuccino one. So it's hazelnut and cappuccino this time. Okay. So you can see again, really thick layer of chocolate around it. You know, so that I think, I mean, you know, the cynical side of you would say, oh well, the chocolate's probably the cheaper part of it, and you're probably right. But it does mark them out as being different than the typical ones we reviewed in the past. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's give it a bit of a taste then, I think. So hazelnut and cappuccino flavoured filling, I think, obviously covered in white chocolate. Right, let's give it a go. Well. Again, not bad, not bad. It's more of a subtle coffee flavour this time. You know, yeah, it seems to work differently than the other one. Didn't really get much of a hazelnut flavour. Obviously got lots of white chocolate there. Again, it's not too bad. It's just a slightly different coffee than the last one, I guess. I mean, it's a funny one. I mean, what was the other coffee description as? It was the palette, wasn't it? Fondant cream coffee. This one's cappuccino. Doesn't taste a million miles away from it. You know, but I'll just taste the palette one again. Just a bit of a bite. There's definitely a difference in taste there, and having just tasted the sort of the coquille one, definitely does seem to be a bit of a stronger coffee than the other one, or a different taste anyway. The other one was now I'm having it after the other one. Harder to taste the coffee in that one. It's a bit of a funny one, that one. Not sure what to make of that. But yeah, it's definitely a different taste. Interesting. Very thick white chocolate in that one. And I think it works again. It just works. As I say, it's yeah. I didn't really taste much of a hazelnut flavour though, but it could be there to sort of, you know, somehow just works to gear it into one sort of specific sort of sense of, you know, sort of type of flavour behind the scenes, if that makes sense. But it didn't. I couldn't taste hazelnut there in that one. But wasn't too bad, and was a different coffee chocolate. Nice to have two different kinds of coffee chocolate. I think you don't normally get that in the set, so I quite like that one. And again, it was quite nice. It just wasn't. I don't know. It just worked really. I don't know. I think some of the other chocolate selections we've had, where they've had certain chocolates, I think because they're sort of quite extreme, as in they're sort of very all out in one type of flavour. Sometimes if they're not very nice, they're just not very nice. Whereas these ones are all, I wouldn't say the bar's too high in them. You know, they're not really achieving for a massive extreme flavour, but because of that, they're not really going for really horrible flavours either. You know, the flavours are not like that. So far at least anyway. You know what I mean? So it's hard for me to sort of, I'm not really, even though these are not sort of blowing my socks off, not really unpleasant either. They're just sort of quite good, you know, flavours that are sort of hovering around the sort of centre ground, I guess you'd say. But they work quite well, and I think the fact that the chocolate's so thick actually works in its favour in this case for the most part. You know, you can taste distinctly the white chocolate, whereas in some of the other selections, you know, they've said they were white chocolate, and it was only really on the periphery of it all, or it was quite hard to differentiate. Whereas these ones are quite, you know, in your face. Big chunks of big thick white chocolate with a sense that you can still taste, and they work quite well together. So yeah, I think probably a 4 out of 5 for that one. I think it was nice again. Yeah, the triangle. yeah. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the triangle in Quality Street, so I don't know whether that's my prejudice coming out because I'm thinking of that one. But yeah, we'll give it a try. It looks quite interesting now. I like the way it's got a couple of designs on it. Let's have a look. So we'll grab one out. It seems to have a dark chocolate top. So clearly you can see why it's called triangle. Maybe it should be called prism, I don't know, but there we are. Yes, so a sort of bubble on the top. Apologies for the plaster, by the way. I've cut my finger a bit. Yeah. Okay, so it probably might claim it's got dark chocolate in it, but clearly it's going to play second fiddle to the rest of it. Let's see what the description is. At least they're quite easy to differentiate. I have to say that's one thing going for it. Where is it now? I'm sure I saw it. There it is on the other side. Might struggle to read this one. Let's see if I can do it. Let it focus so I can read it, and so you can as well. Yeah, it's not focusing, so I'll put it there. There we go. Milk and dark chocolate with a hazelnut filling. Okay, so that sounds very familiar, doesn't it? The other one had a bit of it was a white chocolate with a cappuccino and hazelnut filling. Well, we had the praline, didn't we? I think at some point. So this sounds a bit. Which one was it that had just the praline? I don't know. I'm sure we had one. Yeah, it was Exquise, wasn't it? Whatever it's called. Yeah, sounds like a squeeze me. But yeah, so it's that one there. So it's be very similar to the triangle one. The other one had a sort of white chocolate on the top. This one's got dark chocolate. Yeah. So it seems to be a bit rubbish, this one. It seems to be very similar to the other one. I say the Exquise there, and the triangle seems to be basically exactly the same, other than one of them's got a dark chocolate tab on the top, and the other's got a white chocolate one. So that's a bit of a shame, isn't it? That's a bit of a shame, that. So it's almost like the two of the same chocolates, yeah. So it's going to be difficult to measure this. So I'll just measure. Well, not too difficult actually, but you know what I mean. I'll just measure right there like that. About 3.2 centimeters. I measure the height. This is the height with the white chocolate, the dark chocolate tab. There seems to be too straight, these calipers. I'm not sure why that is. So 1.9 centimeters. I'll do it with the without the tab at the top. About 2 millimeters. Yeah, so 1.7. Sorry, centimeters. There we go. Yes, this one looks to be, as I say, very much the same as the other one. Bit of a shame, this, I think, but there you go. You've got a dark chocolate, sort of secondary chocolate to it, rather than the white chocolate in the last one. I'm expecting just very similar. Difficult to cut through. Okay. Let's say the one thing definitely going for this selection is just the thickness of the chocolate, as I think I keep emphasizing. You can see how thick some of the chocolate is on that one there. Especially if you come from the top as well, but you can see on the sides it's really thick, very thick really. So I can measure just the thickness of that chocolate. If you consider the size of them, in some spaces, really you probably won't be able to see it very easily, but in some spaces about 0.5 centimetre thick really. That bit on the top there. Yeah. Okay, let's give this a taste. Not expecting too much on this one, similar to the other one rather, but let's give it a go. I'll just move the get off the screen. It does have a bit of a different taste. I can taste that dark chocolate. I must admit I can taste it. Yeah. Not massively so. It's not like it dominates the chocolate, but it was there. So while it's not a sort of inspired set of chocolates between that and the Exquise one, there was a distinct different taste. So quite normally, I can't really remember what I gave that to Exquise one. I think I gave it a 3, didn't I? I think. This one's about the same, really. I did taste the dark chocolate there. I don't know, should I mark it up a bit for that one? Maybe the white chocolate was a bit too similar to the milk chocolate, so I couldn't really differentiate between them. It's probably a 3, maybe a 3.5, because the dark chocolate did stand out a bit more. And as I say, that's more than can be said for some of the other chocolate selections we've had, where they've had a bit of white chocolate on the top or whatever. It never really seems to have stood out for some reason. You can never really differentiate the taste. So, I might be tempted to give it a 3.5 out of 5. I think the dark chocolate stood out a bit more there. And I think the dark chocolate is quite. I'm not a massive dark chocolate fan, but I have given the dark chocolate one so far, the ones that feature dark chocolate, a bit of a higher mark. And it just because it does seem to work, and you can taste that bit of extra richness there. So I mean, we'll go. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. I'll give it 3.5 out of 5 for that one. Yeah. Okay, so there's another one the same as the triangle now, isn't it, Andrew? You're saying the fuel, whatever it's called. Fuel? Yeah, so that's a bit of a shame if that's the case, isn't it? Got some of them very similar. Okay, well, what should we do? Go to the fuel next then. We'll go continue in the clockwise fashion, shall we? But it does look very similar actually, because it looks almost it's got like milk and dark chocolate on the top. So okay, it doesn't look too bad. See, it is. It's quite a thicker bit of, well, maybe a bit of more dark chocolate. I'm not sure, but you can see it's got like a leaf design. Maybe that's what fuel means in French or wherever it is. I think it's French. Yeah, so okay, that looks quite nice. Let's see what the description is for this one, because Andrew's half hinted at it might be quite similar to the other one. There it is there. Again, where's it gone? There. Yeah, there we go. So milk and dark chocolate with a hazelnut filling. Yes, that's exactly the same. Yes, that's a bit I don't know. Is that cheating? Do you think? You know, having the same chocolate but just displayed differently. Seems that way, doesn't it? I think you would never normally accept that. You know, just having two chocolates that are exactly the same, just in a different layout. I mean, that's not typical, that is it? At least they're not going. Well, I was going to say at least they're not really hiding it, but I guess they are slightly. But you know, they're not trying to describe it as anything different. Just got chocolate all over my fingers now, but yeah, okay. So I do apologise for that. All right, we'll do the height of this one. Do it from the side actually. Okay, so it's about 1.7 centimetres. Do it from top to bottom. Okay, it's about 3.8. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. Guess it doesn't. It's not the same height at the top, or the same measurement. You know, it's gone slightly inwards a bit. So yeah, about 1.9. Yeah, about 1.92 centimetres out when you measured at the top. So it slightly goes inwards a bit at the top, as you can see. Okay, well, let's give this one a bit of a cut then. Yeah, just I don't know, bit of a cheat this one, I think. But let's see. It looks like it has got more dark chocolate, I guess. This one, at least, there's that. But we would generally say this is exactly the same as the one as Andrew's mentioned. But I think the dark chocolate does seem to be a bit more prominent here. You can see the whole top is dark chocolate this time. You can see the thickness of the chocolate as well. The actual inside is not much compared to the actual chocolate layer. You can see how thick how thick the chocolate is above the inside there. So for better or worse, I think that's the definite distinction of these chocolates, just the thickness of the actual chocolate itself rather as opposed to the filling. If it focuses in there, will it focus? Doesn't seem to want to do it. There we go. Yeah, you see distinct layers there as well. So that's not bad. That I'll try and measure. I've used my trusty old-fashioned measuring stick to do that. Measure just how much. About a centimetre thick. It's only about 2 centimetres tall. Yeah, so that's that chocolate there. Almost, anyway. You probably can't see that really, but yes, perhaps just trust me. Yeah. Okay. Well, with that in mind, let's give it a go. Let's give it a taste. Yeah, so there's definitely something a bit different about this one, but generally the flavours are the same, I'd say. But let's give it a go. Yeah. Strangely, I couldn't taste the dark chocolate as much in this one, even though it seems to have more of it. I don't know why that was. That doesn't make any sense to me, but that seems to be the case. Yeah, that doesn't really add up to me, but that's what's happened. I can't taste the dark chocolate as much. I don't know if it's a different, strength of dark chocolate or what. I wouldn't have thought so. I would have thought they'd use exactly the same, but for some reason it didn't stand out as much as in the triangle. I really don't know why that is, especially since there seems to be less in the triangle one than the fouille one. So I can't explain that. So yeah, so I think that's probably a bit more standard one. It does seem to be more chocolate than the other one. The fillings seem to be a lot less prominent than the triangle one. But nonetheless, I couldn't excuse me. Nonetheless, I couldn't really taste the dark chocolate in that one. I can't quite work that out really. I can't work that one out. Let's just give them both a cut in half. I'll get the other so we can see there is a difference in the centre level of it. So just a quick cut off camera. Okay, goodness me. Okay, yeah. So here we go. So we got this. This is the fouille on the left as you look at it. Hang on, can I get them both in the screen at once? There we go. And hopefully they'll focus in. So the triangle one this is the fouille one there, and the triangle one's on this side here. Might not focus in very well. You can see they're both sort of, yeah. No, what do you say? I think the triangle one just looks bigger, doesn't it? It just looks to be big, even though you'd think the fouille one would have more because it's got this dark chocolate slab on the top. It's actually sort of quite thin towards one side, isn't it? You can see there it goes off a bit. It's only in the middle that it's quite thick. Whereas the triangle one, it's relatively thick all the way because it's just a slab on the top, which might explain why it's actually more prominent and easier to taste the dark chocolate. The triangle one actually just looks bigger, even though when you having the Fouille one in your hand, seems to be bigger, but it's not as wide and things like this. So yeah, that's the Fouille one here. I think that possibly explains it, really. Yeah, difficult to say though. But for whatever reason, possibly those ones we just mentioned, the Fouille, the triangle one actually tasted better, more distinct. Trying to wash all this chocolate off all everywhere while I'm talking. So I think it wasn't as good basically the Fouille one, even though they are essentially the same. So there is a difference there, which is strange because you would never have guessed that, and it does seem to be a bit. It's not. I mean, it's not a difference I'm in favour of really. I think they should just have the triangle and that's it. There is a slight difference there, but the triangle one has a bit more about it than the other one. Well, the Fouille one's a 3 out of 5. The triangle one was better than that, about 3.5 out of 5. So yeah. There's a distinct change there. Right, we've got the twist now, the imaginative title twist. There's always one like this. I bet it's got hazelnuts in it. This one's always a hazelnut type one, isn't it? Presumably dark chocolate as well. But we'll see, I'll probably be completely wrong now. But let's have a look. What does it say? It's always like a hazelnut whirl, isn't it? And stuff like this. Let's see. So there it is there. Let's see if I can read it. Oh, it's orange. Dark chocolate with a ganache orange flavoured filling. There we go. Well, that's interesting. It's dark chocolate as well, so that's quite good. Dark chocolate and orange. I think that's a good combination there. Let's give it a bit of a measure then. Let's give it a go. Well, so quite excited about this one. It's a bit different, I say, which is quite good. Let's give it the old height treatment. It's about 2 centimetres tall. 1.9 centimetres is there. Come round it up, of course. It's circular at the bottom. By the way, none of them got tyre tracks on the bottom, even they've not got any conveyor belt shenanigans going on. And yeah, and at the bottom it's about 3 centimetres. Oop, I just messed that up. I'll do it again. 2.97 this time. About 3 centimetres there. Yeah, so orange, a bit different this one. Yeah, quite excited about this one then because I think let's say I think they've added something a bit new, possibly by accident, possibly by trying to save money. But the chocolate's been so thick in these ones that it's actually given it a bit of a distinct taste than the normal chocolate selections. All right, so let's give it a chop in half. That's surprising, unexpected as well. These ones. Okay, so it is again, as Andrew was saying at the start, it's just all a variation of truffles, fondants, ganaches. They're all the same sort of thing really. And again, a thick chocolate on the top. Smoother on this side. So the fillings are all the same, and there's no creams as such. It's just all this kind of thing. But I think that's kind of a typical Belgian chocolate affair, really. Better or worse. All right. Well, I was expecting something quite good. This one. I was expecting a distinct chocolate taste, dark chocolate, and hopefully an orange taste as well. Let's give it a go. Not bad, It's quite a nice chocolate, nice orange, and it's a nice dark chocolate taste. Not too rich, as I say, but just rich enough to for you to know it's a dark chocolate. And the orange tastes quite nice actually, a bit more like not a overly citrusy or concentrated chocolate taste, orange taste. It's more like I'm a million miles away from Turkish chocolate orange actually. It's that kind of orange taste. That's not bad, that. Quite creamy as well because of the truffly melt in the mouth sensor. Not bad. Not bad. Quite. I think I prefer just to be a solid chocolate with like a Turkish chocolate orange. Just solid chocolate with an orange flavour. But could be because, as I say, these ones, the more you have of them, the more sickly they get. So it could be that really. It could be maybe I'm getting affected by it now. I'm not sure. It's hard to say. I can't do anything about that, unfortunately. But not too bad though. I think for me that one is probably a 3.5. I think I just feel like I'd rather have a Turkish chocolate orange really, that bar with that chocolate. It could be, as I say, it could be that I'm being affected now by the fact that all of them are creamy in the centre. But again, that's something to bear in mind with the selection. If they're all just cream centres, well, not cream centres, but sort of like melt in the mouth, truffly centres, you will might get affected by that, and I think that's just a fair enough thing to talk about really when reviewing it really. Yeah, but I think as it stands at the moment, a 3.5 out of 5 I think for that one. It's just not too bad. It's just the fact, I think it's just the fact that when I taste it, I think, well, it's not as good as a Terry's chocolate orange, dark chocolate or otherwise. It just, I don't know, it just seems, for me, it just works better with a solid chocolate taste, I think. But there we go. It's not too bad though. Having said all that though, it's a difficult one, isn't it? But I think that maybe chocolate orange flavouring for me does work better in solid form rather than in a cream form, I think. But this is one of the better creams, I must say, because it does normally with the orange creams like in Quality Street, the orange cream that one tastes like orange flavoured Calpol, that children's medicine. It really distinctly does taste that to me. It just tastes exactly the same. I don't know if anyone else finds that, but some of the other ones I've had, it just tasted a bit too citrusy, a bit too concentrated, a bit like they've, a bit like it's when you've had a cordial and you've got too much of the cordial rather than the water. You've added too much cordial to it. Sometimes it tastes a bit like that, or a bit too tangy. Whereas this one actually was pretty good, so I might be doing a bit of a disservice really to only give it a 3.5. But I think it's just the fact that even despite that, I've got a direct, it's got a direct sort of what's the word? Can't feel the word now. A direct sort of other alternative that I'd like to have instead, which is the Terry's dark chocolate orange, and I just think I'd rather have that, and I don't think I'd give that a 5 out of 5. But so it's a bit of swing. It's a bit difficult one really. So I'm just it's probably on the upper end of a 3.5. I'm just going to stick with 3.5. I think is the gist of it. So there we go. But I labour the point too much there. But there you get the gist of it. Okay, so what have we got next? It's the what's it called? The Evertail or something? The Evertail? That sounds weird. Where is it? There it is. It's called the Eventail. There we go. Stranger again. Eventail. It sounds like eventide, morning tide. Milk chocolate with a hazelnut filling. Oh, okay, right. So they're very fond of these ones, aren't they? So we've had a milk and white chocolate with a hazelnut filling. We've had a milk and dark chocolate with a hazelnut filling. Now we've just got milk chocolate with a hazelnut filling. Okay, so right. I think they're cheating now. I think they've gone a bit too far, taking the mick. I think they've just gone, the first one you thought, well, okay, it was slightly different. It had a different chocolate with it, but now it's just straight on milk chocolate without either or of the other ones. So, yeah, I think that's definitely, I don't know. I mean, I guess they're doing something slightly different, but you'd think if you're going to do different chocolates, you would have done something a bit more different, I think, is the gist of it. But it looks quite nice, doesn't it? It's not a bad, but again, not a brilliantly fabulous, distinct shape. It does. I don't know. It doesn't have an air of quality. These kind of seashell typey shapes, does it? I don't know what it is. It's very standard. A bit like a sort of, but that the chocolate you'd make at home if you have like your own chocolate making set and you've only just started out and you have like a little one of these a mold you'd have, and they'd be like these kind of molds, wouldn't they? You know what I mean? It's like that kind of thing. And there's nothing wrong with that, but when you're you'd expect something a bit better, I think, when you're buying them. Okay, so that's this one's about 1.4. Let's see, we'll do the type from top to bottom. We can. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so it's about 3.9 centimetres there. Okay, so obviously it's a bit of a wavy at the side, but I think we've, yeah. Do we do that one? Just slightly there. 2.2, 2.3 centimetres. There we go. Right, let's give it a bit of a chop. Yeah, so I'm a bit won't labour the point too much, but obviously we are seeing three chocolates that have basically been the same. It's had a slightly different taste, but you wouldn't really expect such similar chocolates in a chocolate selection, really. Yeah, you're right, Alan. Really, I think maybe it's. I think the problem with it is, well, it's like you say, you've got three of them that are very similar. But if you take out the fact that there's three similar ones, and you just had, you've still got sort of 8 different types of chocolate. I think is it 8 or 7? 7 different types of chocolates, or 8 if you only included one of them. So you got rid of 2 of them. So it's still not too bad. I think it's just disappointing when you're expecting a wider selection, which isn't unfair to do, really. I think it's just the fact that they've kind of shot them in the foot by having people have better expectations at having 10 different types of chocolate, whereas really you're only really getting 8, but it's still quite a lot. I think the problem is it's low. You're disappointed rather than it's saying you've got 8 and you've actually got 10 different chocolates, whereas 2 of them are sort of variants on one of the other ones. I I think you'd be more happy then. You think, oh yeah, I've got a bit of an extra variant of the one I expected, whereas it's gone the other way, this one, hasn't it? So yeah, but I definitely agree with you. It's I think you're expecting a lot more and sort of getting less, rather than the other way around. Okay, so here we go. So sorry about the loud noise there, if you heard that. So there we go. So yeah, typical affair again. The thick chocolate. He's not feeling. Will it focus in on the top one? Yeah, just about. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Yeah, so typical affair. Thick chocolate again, but just milk chocolate this time. All right, so it's well, I guess there is that if you don't like milk or if you don't like dark or white chocolate, then this is the alternative, I guess. But again, it's not really. I think that's clutching at straws to justify it, really. Okay, let's give it a go. I don't think we're going to be too surprised with this one. Let's do it. Yeah. It's just as you'd expect, and I don't think we're surprised by that. It's just your milk chocolate with, typical hazelnut praline filling, basically. So, there is much more to say that. We've kind of been over this twice already. It's not bad. But yeah, it's a 3 out of 5. Quite a standard affair, that one. To the point where I don't even think there's much point in eating the other half of it, Yeah, so it's okay. But 3 out of 5. It's the same as your ones, but just minus the white or minus the dark chocolate. The dark chocolate one I think was the nicest one. Stood out the most to me. Which was, I think it was a triangle, was it? In fact, we had two of the, well, we had the triangle and the wheel, wasn't it? So yeah, so actually, Alan, I was a bit wrong there, wasn't I? Because we got two of them that are exactly the same of the dark chocolate variant, pretty much. So yeah, you're right. So actually, we've gone down to 7 different types of chocolate because 4 of them are exactly the same, pretty much, or very very similar variants. So, or 2 of them are exactly the same. So yeah, so I think they've cheated a bit here, but we'll perhaps come back to that in the summary. So there we go. Well, see what the fondant is now. Is it another kind of hazelnut? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's hazelnut on the outside, and just a straightforward chocolate in the middle. Okay, let's have a look. So, okay, we'll get this one out. Here it is. So it's like a, what is it? Pentagon. Pentagram. Yeah, so that's got a swirly centre again. Again, it's that sort of standard affair looking thing. They've all got like, well, a lot of them have had this sort of hole. I presume where it's filled from. There we go. So okay, that's what the description is. So it's just called pendant or fondant, is it? Fondant. Okay, well, I presume it's got fondant in it, but they've all got fondant. So there we go. Milk chocolate with a fondant cream filling, so there's no flavouring this time. So rather than it being hazelnut, so yeah, they are all. We're quickly. I mean, after the first 5, I think if we'd stopped after the first 5, I think we'd be very happy with this. And maybe if you throw in the twist as well, because that's the orange one. I mean, it's just the fact we've just gone through something that are very similar, really. Okay, but again, we'll come back to that. All right, so let's give it a bit of a measure then. So, okay, that is 2.8 centimeters. Let's see, and at the top, because obviously it's not quite as thick, so it's gone from 2.8 to about 2.5, so it's just a few millimeters there. And the height, about 1.9 centimeters. There we go. Okay, so again, it's another typical one really. It's just not got a hazelnut flavour this time, I think. So we'll give it a chop. Let's do it. So again, they've all got quite a thick chocolate layer. Not quite as thick in this one actually. Seems to be very. On the left and the right of it, it's quite thick on the sides, or thicker. But on the top, it's not quite as thick this time. So I guess they are doing. Oh, this is just a fluke, but they do seem to alternate the thickness to an extent in some cases. This one's definitely got more fondant in the centre. Okay, let's give it a go. So there is that at least, if nothing else. Let's give it a taste. It tastes a bit more fresh. There's no hazelnut taste there. A bit like a less sickly, but perhaps a less tasty Lindor. That one is the gist of it. Yeah, so it's not as quite as sickly, I don't think, but it's not quite as tasty as a Lindor. Not bad. Again, standard affair, quite a sort of nice chocolate. Chocolate's not as thick in this one, so it's more about the centre. You know, but the centre's quite. It's not sickly as a Lindor, but it's not too dissimilar to a Lindor really with this one. I wouldn't say it's as good as a Lindor, but I think Lindors are too sickly for me, so it swings around about as far as I'm concerned there. But it's not quite got the richness, the sort of naughtiness, I guess you'd say, of a Lindor, you know, want a better term. So not bad that one, but I think I would probably say a 3 out of 5. I think it's just not really one thing or another. It's not unpleasant. But it's not, you know, doesn't really stand out too much. But it stands out to the fact that it's not hazelnut filling at least. So there is that. But yeah, I think it's quite a standard affair, that one. So I think a 3 out of 5 for that one. Right, so we've got to the last one now, the rum one. So has it got rum in it? I mean, you'd think so, but who knows? This is that sort of rhombus. Maybe unless it's a play on words and it's rhombus or something. That's where they've got the it's like a, yeah, maybe that's what they've done, Andrew. Yeah, it's like a rhombus and with rum in it. I think that's a rhombus shape, isn't it? Can't remember my maths from school that well, but there we go. Okay, just seems to have like that sort of honey implement affair where you get, you know, I don't know what it is, what that thing's called, but there's something you can manoeuvre honey with. It looks a bit like that, has that pattern on it. I don't know what it is or what it's called. Okay, let's give it a bit of a measure. It's a hard one to measure this one because it's a funny shape, but we'll do our best. Okay, that one won't fall out. There we go. It's about 2.9 centimeters. Let's have a look. And this sort of height, yeah, about 2.65. Yeah, one there like that. That's a bit difficult to measure in respect to the funny shape of it, but I think what we've done, and the height, this bit here, about 1.8. There we go. Well, let's give this one a chop then. So yeah, what didn't even do the description, did we? Let's have a look. See what's actually in it. So there we go. Okay, can we read it? Will it come? I can see the word ganache. Milk chocolate with a ganache rum flavoured filling. Okay, so this one is a bit different. It's got rum in it, so it's rum. So it's obviously I assume it's a play on words with the rhombus and rum in it. I assume anyway. Unless rum in French does have an H in it, but not sure. Let's give it a bit of a chop. Okay. So some effort's gone into the naming of it, if that's the case. Okay, so again we've got the typical affair. It's just a flavoured truffle again, really. Not quite as thick a chocolate, I don't think. Seems to be a bit more flaky chocolate. It's a bit more space in it. Okay, well, let's give it a go. I said I'm not a big rum fan, so you know, bear that in mind. But let's. None of these have had a distinct smell, by the way. Normally, you can smell something straight away. None of these have smelled particularly of anything. Even this one, I just can't. I'm not getting any smell. I'm not even being compelled to smell them. Actually, normally you smell it straight away when you do these things, and this time it's not even crossed my mind to do it because it's just not really been a smell, and even really close up, I barely get any smell. There's a slight smell there, but there's no rum smell. There's no particularly chocolate smell. There's nothing. Yeah, you know. So yeah. Not sure what to make of that, but there we go. Okay, well, let's give it a taste. Well, there is a rum taste for sure. Yeah, it does remind me of my mum's Bacardi. Okay. Yeah. It does taste a bit. You know, if you're a big rum fan, I think you'd be impressed with this one. I think it does have a rum taste. You know, it's not hard to say whether it's a quality rum. I'm not really into rum that much to know a quality one from a bad quality one, but definitely has that taste. I think really, for me, it's not a taste I'm not bothered about. As I think I mentioned earlier, I don't really drink that much, so it's a wasted one on me, this one. So I can't really, you have to bear that in mind when I give it my rating. But of course, you know, yeah, well, yeah, this is it. I don't know what to say about that. Really, it doesn't have a sharp alcohol taste or anything. It's just got that rum taste, of course. I don't think it's real alcohol. It's just rum flavour. I'm pretty sure that's what it says. with a Ganache rum flavoured filling. There we go. Yeah, so it's not actually got alcohol in it, and it doesn't give you that sharp alcohol catching the throat taste, warm taste, or whatever. But it does taste of rum actually. Not too bad. It's not really a flavour for me though, but it's not unpleasant either. It's just just not my flavour, but it doesn't. It's not horrible or anything. And it's probably my least favourite of the lot, just because it's not a flavour that I'm particularly bothered about. But of course, if you love the rum flavour, this would be for you. And I think you could add a mark to it. But I think for me, it's probably a 3 out of 5, maybe a 2.5 really. But I think I'll give it the benefit of the doubt because it's just not a flavour for me, and give it a 3. So there we go. Yeah, so there we are. I think that's all of them. We've done all 10. Ooh, cracky, cracky, Bob. Yeah, I think it's a bit a bit heavy after today, I think. But there we go. So we've done all 3. I mean, how to rate the whole thing as a whole? Well, to be honest with you, it starts off pretty well. I think the expectations were sort of mixed. I think. I mean, the expectations were kind of, it was seen as a sort of possibly a quantity of a quality set, really, and I think that's what we're expecting. It is a sort of Amazon's own brand set. But for the first 5 chocolates, I think they weren't too bad, and I think it was quite. We had the palette, the Tresor, Exquisite, the Coquille, the Triangle, and I think those were kind of quite distinct and quite nice, and they had some good ones there. But I think after that point, we went clockwise around the chocolates. It started to get a bit samey. We had the Fouille, which was exactly the same as the Triangle, pretty much. Then we had the Twist, which was a bit different. And the Eventail, which I think was just the same as all those other ones again, which were quite similar to the Exquisite as well. So we kind of had very similar ones. I can't remember what the Fondant. What was the Fondant one? It was a star one, wasn't it? What was that like? Yeah, it was just milk chocolate, and the Eventail. What was that one? Yeah, hazelnut filling. So the Eventail and the Fondant were very similar as well. Yeah, just rounding up now, Scotty. Yeah, oh, sorry. It's my fault, really. I should have done a reminder today, but one of those, really. I need to remind myself to do a reminder. But never mind. But yeah, we just, there was summing it up now, basically, Scotty. Yeah, so you caught that bit at least. We're good to see you, man. I hope you're doing okay. I hope you had a good time shopping. Yeah, so long story short is the Eventail Fondant, Fouille, Triangle and Exquisite were very, very similar. There was a slight difference with, as you can see on the picture in the top right, Exquisite had a bit of a white chocolate in there, and the Triangle and Fouille had dark chocolate in there. And some had hazelnuts and just a straight milk chocolate centre, or truffle flavoured centre, but they were all very similar, and that was the disappointing part of it for a bit, really. Okay, yeah. Oh, nice one, Scotty. Yeah, well, yeah, it will be available on catch up, so interesting to watch. I think it's an interesting watch, this one. There's something about this product that's a bit interesting to watch about. So yeah, I would recommend. Of course, I'd say that, but there we go. But yeah, so interesting one, this one. I think for me though, I think if you just needed 5 different chocolates, I think, and probably less. Maybe you'd even say just 1 tray and 5 different chocolates. So you could have 2 trays, I guess. But I think this is one I would say have 5 different chocolates. Get rid of the ones that are so similar, maybe 6, and just get rid of the other 4 that are too similar, really. I don't know. It's nice to have that slight differentiation. We have one of them with a white chocolate and one with a dark chocolate, and I could taste the dark chocolate on the Triangle one. I guess if you really looked, you could probably taste the white chocolate on the Exquisite one. But it's just, I don't know. I just feel like there's some unnecessary chocolates in here, or it just needs streamlining a bit. But what can you say? I mean, if you've got, it's nice to have the different selections, isn't it? But I think, I don't know, I feel like they've just put ones in that don't need to be in here, really. And I don't know, hard one to say, because, of course, some people might say, well, I like the white chocolate, I want the Exquisite with the Triangle. But really, I don't know. You've got the other 2 white chocolate ones, and maybe just, not even have the dark or the white chocolate, just have the straightforward one, which is just milk chocolate. But to me, the Triangle one was the best one, I think, out of those, the Exquisite, Triangle, Fouille, Eventail and Fondant. I think the Triangle one is just the best one out of the lot, but they're all very similar, really. Yeah, exactly, Alan. I think it's one of those where you just that's it. I think it is a sort of quantity over quality to an extent, and it's even insofar as the chocolates themselves, they've got a thick chocolate surround to the filling, and while some people, while that's probably cheaper to do the chocolate around here rather than the filling, it actually does give you something a bit different, and it does give you a big chocolate crunch. And if something's got white chocolate in, like the palette, whatever it's called, it is white chocolate, and you do taste that, and it's really thick, and it's whereas in other chocolate selections that's not the case. You get a bit of white chocolate, it'll be like a little disc on the top or something, and it's it's a bit here and there, here, there, and everywhere, not really sort of distinct enough, or it might be, but it's only, it just adds a bit to the overall flavour of the chocolate rather than being its own flavour. So this one's a bit more no nonsense, really. Yeah, so there we go. I think that's the gist of this set as a whole, really. So it's not one you'd get someone as a sophisticated quality anniversary present. You wouldn't really get this for someone unless this was their favourite chocolates and they specifically like this. I don't think you would get this for someone like that as a special occasion. I really don't. And I think that's this chocolate. It's just a set of no nonsense, stuff your face chocolates, basically. And if it's white chocolate, it is white chocolate. If it's dark chocolate, it is dark chocolate. There's none of this sort of, oh well, you know, it's all mixing in to make it better than some of its parts. It's not really that kind of set. It is literally, here's what it is, and this is what you've got. You know, that's the gist of it. So, you know, that's a good and a bad thing, as I've mentioned, really. You know, it depends who you're guessing it for. But if you're just guessing it for yourself, you know, I think you'd be quite happy. They're not too sickly. I've had 10 of them now, pretty much. I don't feel too sick. I feel a bit full, I must say, but I don't feel like they've been too sickly. And they have all had the fondant centre. So, you know, it swings and roundabouts. I think it's definitely gonna sort of tick some boxes in the right circumstances, the gist of it, but not in others, I think. But you know, they've not had any. There's not really been any bad flavours in here either. That's the other thing. There's not really been any that I thought these are just poor. It's just really not as good as it's sounding to be, like in some of the other chocolate selections or whatever. But this one, I would say, it just suffers from having too many that are too similar, really. And it could have streamlined them and still had a good selection of chocolates. You know, it still would have had 6 or 7. Yeah. So as for the rating, well, I think, you know, it's not terrible or anything, but it's just it is what it is. For I hate saying that, really, but I think it does sum this one up pretty well. You know, I think almost to the point where really they should have just given them. I feel like they should have perhaps just given them better names that are more in-your-face names. You know, white chocolate slab, dark chocolate, you know, with a bit of something in the middle. You know, they could have almost just called them names like that, and I think it probably would have worked better rather than all these sort of, I don't know, semi-sophisticated sounding names that don't really suit it and don't really give a hint as what it is. I think if you're going to go down that route, you then got to have a card on the inside, and you know, there's no card either. That was the other thing. There's no card on the inside. There's no real presentation, you know, and I feel like that's, I don't know. I feel like it would have benefited more from just having in-your-face names about what they are. Rum and chocolate, you know, white chocolate with a bit of hazelnut filling or something. They could have even almost have called them that, and I think it kind of would have kind of worked in a funny way. Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know. Again, it's one of those, isn't it? Sometimes when you look at something, you'll be, yeah, you know, you look at it and subconsciously, you know, you won't want to be buying chocolates that are just called a slab of chocolate or something like that, you know, or whatever, chocolate brick or something. But you know, but I feel like it would have actually worked in this selection. I feel like if it just played for it at its strengths, you know, I think it would work, really. I think it would work anyway. I don't know, maybe other people wouldn't. Maybe you want to pretend the fancy chocolates by calling it, I don't know, Eventail or whatever. But for me, I think, you know, just milk chocolate with, I don't know, I don't know. It's hard to keep different names, isn't it, if they're just calling them literally what they are, especially if they're all very similar in this case. So maybe that's why they've had to do it. But there we go. And that's for rating. Well, to sum that all up, if that's not a summary in itself, exactly what it says on the tin. You know, it's basically just no nonsense chocolates, thick chocolate. You know, you get what you're seeing. You're not disappointed by the fact it's not got white chocolate in it specifically. Even the ones like the triangle and the excuse, maybe more the triangle, you could taste the dark chocolate on the top. Whereas I've had that, where I've not been able to do that in some of the sort of more expensive, sophisticated chocolates. Yeah, but the only problem is too similar on about 4 of the chocolates are very similar, if not the same, in 2 of their cases. Yeah, so I think definitely slightly above average dose. I think it's a 3.5 out of 5, I think, for me. I did enjoy it, actually, and it's not too sickly. I'd be quite happy to eat it. I think I've probably reached the limit of what I could do in one session now. There's no raspberry either in there, which is a bit of a shame. I think it could have done with a raspberry one. Something a bit more of that kind of fruity flavour. That might have been enough to raise it to maybe, well, it might have still been a 3.5, but it would have been a better set with a raspberry in, I think. And I think that's the one other thing that's missing from it. It needed another kind of fruity flavour just to make it stand out a bit more. And I think it could easily have flavoured the fondant centre, the one that's called fondant, flavoured that centre raspberry or something rather than just a straight milk chocolate one. I think that was the one that had the milk chocolate centre anyway. Quite sure it was. Let's just check. And I think that was, yeah, fondant cream, filling. Yeah, yeah, the fondant one. Yeah, I think the other one's very similar as well though. The Eventide, I can't find it. Yeah, no, yeah, it was the fondant one. So I think they could have done that one flavoured with raspberry flavoured fondant filling or whatever. Mind you, as I was saying before, they should just call it what they are, and they kind of have done with that fondant one, haven't they? So there you go. So they actually did do it in that case. But there we go. All right, yeah, 3.5 out of 5. Just need a raspberry filling, I think, and that could have been enough really just to make it work even better at what it is. But there we go. Okay, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed that review. Yeah, I do. I think it's expensive for what it is as well. I think it's too. That's another thing. I don't normally bring up price in this one, but it is a standard price because it is only sold, well, as far as I know, by Amazon. I think I would say it's probably a bit too expensive for what it is as well, especially when you consider milk tray for a similar sized box. Well, it's got 30 chocolates in, so a quarter less. But I'm sure that was was more than a quarter cheaper, basically. So, yeah, you know, nothing. Yeah, I think milk tray might be one. It's a comparable selection, I think, and I'd be tempted to I don't know. Milk tray might be slightly a bit better, really. Yeah, but there we go. Oh, no problem, man. Yeah, have a good evening, sir. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Thanks, everyone, for your support. Great to see you as always. Great to hear from you. Thanks, Jack. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, Scotty. Hope you enjoy your shopping. Yeah, so take care, everyone. Have a lovely weekend. Check out the Discord channel, by the way. You can chat to me there. Obviously, if I'm in the middle of reviews and things, I won't be there, but there'll be other people there as well. So check that out. Check on my other videos as well, of course. And have a lovely evening. Thanks again for watching. And take care, everyone. Bye for now. See you soon, everyone. Have a great weekend. Bye. See you later.